Hey, good morning, guys. Yes, it is. It's Thursday, the 23rd of July. So, what are we going to talk about today? I thought we would talk about the process that this brain goes through when looking at buying a used lawnmower. And you'll see what I mean when it comes to flipping, owning, what have you. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, July 23rd of 2026. So what does go through this pea brain when it comes to buying a used lawnmower? Quite a bit of things. I've been in the repair business for well over 20, 25 years easily. And doing services on equipment kind of comes second nature. So if I have somebody show up with a used mower and they're looking to pedal it, there's a lot of things that go into what do I make the determination on. And first thing is, does it start easily? Now, if the owner had it warmed up before you got there, shut it off, and then start it when you got there, that's not a good indicator. They could have used carburetor cleaner or starting fluid to get it warmed up, and then once it's warm, it'll restart. But once it cools off, forget it. So one of the first things that I do is I lift the hood on the lawnmower and I put my hand on the engine. If the engine is warm, we know that pulley, right? I'll be back in the morning. Don't start it, and let me see what it does then. So that's one red flag that I look for is, did they start it up and warm it up before I got there? I want to see a cold start on it. The second thing I'm looking at is wear and tear on the tires. Am I going to have to replace it? Is there weather checking going on? Is there a flat tire? And you can see when something is going soft quite a bit, all you gotta do is look at the wear line on the outer tire, and it'll show you where the rims are pushing up against the side of the tire because the tire was flat before you showed up, and the owner pumped it up. So tires can get expensive. The next thing I'm going to look at is the overall general health of it. Is the hood all faded? Is the paint faded on the chassis? Is there parts missing? Has it been toggled with? Because that's one thing I will not buy is I will not buy a toggled machine. If it's not the way it was from the factory, I'm not interested because you bypass stuff that I have to spend time and money putting back on, right? So those are red flags to me. Looking at the belts, spindles, pulleys, and blades. Those are maintenance things, not as important, but you need to take that into consideration when you're looking at buying it. Am I going to have to put new blades on it? Am I going to have to put new belts on it? Are the pulleys and stuff in good shape? Next is the deck. How is the deck's overall quality? Is it got holes in it? Is it starting to rust out? Is the paint peeling off from it? Those are all telltale signs that that deck is being left where moisture can get at it and it's doing its number. It'll start blistering the paint, everything else on those decks from people that aren't keeping the decks cleaned off from grass, debris, everything else. It'll start rotting from the top down, and anything below that grass cuttings that have rotted down now is peeling the paint and causing rust. So that's one thing to take into consideration. I want to see it move. I want to try it. Especially if it's a hydrostatic, is it whining a lot? Are the levels good on it? Most people that are selling a used lawnmower will put a fresh change oil filter, so you're not seeing how black the oil is. Because I like to see, dark oil. I'll be honest with you. That way I know that the seller is not trying to cover up anything. You know, does it make them nefarious if they have a new oil filter and oil on it? No. But that's usually a red flag for me because I'm looking at just general wear and tear on the machine. Now, we talked yesterday about why some mowers only last 2 years while other ones that are identical twins will last 20. And a lot of it is how well the owner took care of it. A lot of the machines that I buy, I'll be honest with you, are customers' machines that are trading up after 10 years. And I already know the machine because I've serviced it every year. I know the known issues with it. The customer isn't trying to cover anything up because they're like, Eric, you've worked on this since day one, for service work and repairs. And they're 100% right. So I'm more likely to buy their units than I am just somebody off from Facebook. That's probably where I get most of my used mowers for because you're going to have different level customers. Some that want brand new and they will go get brand new. And then you're going to want good used, late model, for a decent price. And then you're going to get the mid range. As long as it runs, drives, and mows the yard, I don't care. And then you got the low range, which is I'm willing to put up with having to blow the tires up every time I use it and not getting a good cut without hearing a lot of noise coming from the deck. And then the next level is scrappers. That's where it's gotten to be. So what do you guys look at when you're buying a used mower? What goes into your thought process? Because in the end, especially if I'm the one selling that mower, I've already run it through the shop. So I know of any known causes or issues. And we've had mowers that I bought that look pristine, and the minute we get them in to do a service and this and that, we find out it's got a knock to it that it's the engine is not going to hold up. And what happens to that? They get set up in the boneyard until we either A, find a new engine to replace the one that's in it, or B, we start stealing parts off from it to put on to customers and our resellable units. You have to have some kind of idea. You need to know the market. Of course, right now, zero turns in our area sell fast. Okay. But still, it all depends upon what you have. If you have a John Deere commercial grade zero turn, that's going to fetch a lot higher money than a Cub Cadet zero turn with the same size deck and everything else. Green sells. Green has value. It holds its value, especially the commercial stuff. It's no different than chainsaws. When you have the homeowner's version and then you got the professional version, the homeowners, you know, weekend warriors might cut up 25 cord in a year, 30 cord, whereas your professional guys are running the saws every day, laying trees down. If they don't have a fellow buncher or whatever, because that's the way we used to do it. We carried our gas and oil and the saw with replacement chains in the truck. And you started at the far end and you started laying down stretches so that the skidder can back right up and grab bunches of them and off they go. The main thing you have to look at is, can I buy it right and decent enough so I could turn around and make money on it? And you don't want to guess at this. I guess is what I'm trying to get at, is you need to be realistic when it comes to what the market is. Now, there's nothing wrong with using AI on Marketplace, because if you put in what it is, it will come up with a number. And I actually, when I got ready to sell my Z445, I was going to put 1800 or best offer. And Marketplace said, are you willing to try AI? I'm like, why not? So I went ahead and let AI do the descriptions and everything else. And it came back with a a resale value of 3550, 3,550. I'm like, all right, I'll go with that for now. Remember, I was looking for 18, so that's quite a good jump. So when the guy came, I had a lot of responses. People wanted to come look at it. When the first guy showed up, he's like, "Would you take $100 less? 150 less. It was 3,400. Yeah, I was willing to take 18. So sometimes even I don't know the market, and AI can search thousands of listings to see what seems to be the average number that sells well for that unit. The goal in the end is to get into something reasonable enough so that you can get out and make a few $100s on it. If I can't make a couple $100s on it, I'm not going to figure around with it. And you're going to say, but Eric, if you just sell more of them, quantity versus quality. No, I'll buy quality every time, and I'll sell less lawnmowers throughout the year, but my gross profits will be a lot higher than I did if I were running things through a slim margin. Okay? When it comes to buying, you have to buy wholesale, not retail. What wholesale is. And I'll tell you, a lot of the places, even dealers, are unwilling to take used lawnmowers in on trade. So I have a lot of customers search me out because they know the right machine I'll buy. And it needs to be priced accordingly. I'm not going to give what a dealer would normally give on a trade-in because they're looking at making money on the new one and then reselling the old one. That's the way it used to be. Now it's they don't want to deal with the older ones because it's too much of a hassle. They're just interested in getting the new ones out. Again, what do you guys take into consideration when you're buying? I do that with everything. Like I told you guys yesterday, that I'm always buying with can I use it if it doesn't sell? Is it something that I'm willing to use? That is one of the criteria. Two is, can I get into it at a fair enough price to make it worth my while? And I've taken in stuff in and then used it here at the house for 3 or 4 months before it finally sold. So, I mean, it's not like I'm not getting some value out of it. The other thing I'm looking at is, if I had to liquidate today in a hurry, could I end up coming out in the blue and not in the red? And that's probably the biggest thing that I look at when I'm buying is, if I can't get out from underneath it in a hurry and make money, then it probably is not a good investment. It's kind of like going out and buying stocks and bonds, and then after 5 years finding out that they're worth less because of inflation, and you've actually gone backwards on it. That's kind of the same thing with lawnmowers and chainsaws and what have you. Is that if you end up, after having it for a while, and you try to sell it and you have to take less than what it's worth, same deal, right? And the other thing is, I don't get excited. A lot of people that are flippers, you guys flipping, speak up in the comments. Is you're buying because you want to make a quick sale to go on to the next. And I've had stuff that I've held on to for a year before it finally sold. But during that year, I used it. I got one more whisper, I go get picked up. But the last one that I had, because I've got a 24 ton, and then I've got a 3-point hits tractor mounted hydraulic wood splitter. But I bought this other one from a customer, and we used it in between. And it was an older machine. I didn't give much for it. We did a service on it, oil change, and all fresh fuel, you name it. But we used it, and I ended up making $350 on that wood splitter. And I had 3 or 4 guys that were hot and heavy over it. So I found another one last week I'm supposed to pick up. And I've got it home. One of the customers, a friend of mine, he's like, I could use the extra one, Eric, if you come across another one. I already did. So that's been bought. I just got to get it home. I'm always looking at, I talked to you about, I don't look at money only for a means. I'm not here to collect money. But if it can make my life easier, of course I'm going to do it. And flipping lawnmowers, flipping wood splitters, flipping chainsaws, I've done that for close to 50 some years. Is I buy it, I use it, I sell it. I buy it, I use it, I sell it. That's kind of been the same thing. And back when I was a kid mowing yards and stuff like that, when I bought my first ride-on, I thought I was king of the king, Was I think it cost me 75 or $100. All right. And at the time I was getting $5 a yard. That's kind of give you an idea. So I'd save my money up and I got this so I didn't have to push mow, and I didn't have a walk or a self-propel push mower. I had just a regular 21-inch push mower that I was doing every yard with. So now I had a rider and I could do all the ride on, doing most of the yard, and then get off and then push mow what was a little bit left and do trimming. But I ended up selling that lawnmower for what I had into it and then turning around and buying a better tractor style. The other thing that you need to look at is you need to invest in yourself. I guess it is when you're buying and selling. One of you mentioned that you're doing it, you're using it, and you've done 8 of them so far this year. That in itself says a lot about you, that you're a good mechanic, you're getting stuff in, you're using it to make sure that it's going to check box everything before you actually end up selling it, which is not a bad thing. And that's how we develop reputations. If you're selling garbage, you're going to get that reputation. If you're taking it in, using it, making sure everything is working the way it should before you sell it, you're going to have a better reputation of having quality stuff. What I can tell you is if you buy junk, you'll always have junk. Okay? And be careful about looks, because you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. So make sure when you do that and you're looking to make a few extra bucks, I don't care what the item is, make sure that you're looking at it realistically and you're checking all the boxes up here before you hand the cash over. So on that note, guys, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe, hit the button, the follow, and the like, and comment on your way out. So on that note, you guys have a great Thursday.